Misano massacre. The day Marc said, "You were crazy." Yesterday, they thought it was over. Marc Marquez, the king who bleeds but doesn't bow, the beast who turns racetracks into hunting grounds, went down in gravel. They booed, they jeered, they celebrated like hyenas around a wounded lion. But lions don't die in gravel. They don't vanish with dust. They rise, angrier, hungrier, deadlier. And today, Misano paid the debt. Every corner, every cheer turned silence. Every insult thrown yesterday was returned with interest. From the lights, Marco Bezzecchi came with fire. Credit where it's due. He's no pretender. He blocked, he pushed, he rode like a man with all of Rossi's ghosts strapped to his shoulders. He carried Aprilia's weight like a soldier walking into war without backup. Bezz said, if Marc's going to take this, he's going to have to bleed for it. And for 4 laps, Marc let him have his moment. That's the thing with Marquez. He doesn't panic. He doesn't burn rubber to prove a point in lap 2. He studies, he watches, he dissects you like a butcher with a slow knife. He collects your strengths, notes your weaknesses, and when he's ready, he comes for the throat. Bezzecchi was burning his tires to keep the beast behind. That's what riders do when they smell Marquez in their mirrors. They overcook, they panic, they empty the tank too early. Because everyone knows the truth. You cannot give Marc breathing room. If he gets a gap, you're dead. If you try to gap him, you'll kill your bike. That's the paradox. Bezz chose the second. He burned. Marc saved. One man playing with gasoline, the other sharpening a blade. Behind them, chaos. Acosta screamed early, that rookie fire boiling over. But KTM, comedy. 3 chain issues in one factory. Binder yesterday, Acosta today. How does a MotoGP factory choke on bicycle problems? Acosta's hype hit a wall called reality. No chain, no game. He crashed out like noise fading in a storm. The media darling turned to dust while the real war raged up front. And then there was Pecco, the homeboy, the supposed hero, the man who was meant to rise in his backyard. Instead, he crashed. Again. His season is a temple of broken glass. He doesn't need data, he needs monks. Inner peace before outer pace. Right now, he's a champion turned street rider, fumbling for rhythm while the world moves on. Misano was meant to be salvation, but it was just another tombstone in his season of ghosts. But let's get back to where the blood mattered. Lap 10. Marc closed to 3/10. He smelled Bezz's tires screaming. He knew the kid was reaching too high, too soon. Alex? Forget it. Already 1.3 seconds down, irrelevant in the real battle. This was Marc versus Bezz, hunter versus prey. Only Bezz refused to be prey. That's why today mattered. Marc didn't just attack blindly. He planned. He had turn 14 marked. He had turn 6 mapped. He was sculpting a kill shot. And then, the gift. Turn 8. Bezz went wide. Just half a bike, just a whisper off the line. But with Marc, that's death. He pounced without hesitation. Crowd groaned. The boos cracked into silence. Marc took the lead like a thief who doesn't ask permission. Brutal, clinical, no risk, just inevitability. From there, the execution began. Lap 14, Marc was half a second clear. By 17, he had a gap, but Bezz wasn't folding. This is where it got twisted. For once, someone refused to die. Bezz shortened the rope. He clawed back to 1/10. He breathed on Marc's neck. He did what no one else in 2025 has done. He made Marc ride angry for the middle laps. That takes iron balls. That takes insanity. That takes respect. Lap 19. Bezz is 1/10. Everyone in Misano holds their breath. Could this be the day? Could someone actually break the unbreakable? Lap 20. Marc slams the hammer. 4/10. Brutal braking. Apex is so deep it looked suicidal. Bezz's onboard showed the truth. You cannot follow that line unless you're willing to die. That's the difference. Marc doesn't play with grip. He plays with physics. Alex at this point, gone. 2 seconds back. 4 seconds back. Factory spec Ducati or not, he was wallpaper to the war. The world doesn't wait for brothers. Marc was busy etching history. Lap 22, fastest lap of the race, 131.3. That was Marc telling Bezz, your fire is beautiful, but my hell is hotter. Gap, half a second. Lorenzo had called it, Marc is unstoppable in the late stages. And he was right. Bezz had been tricked. Marc made him burn too early. Now the tires cried, the fight dimmed, and the beast widened the gap. But here's the twist. Bezz didn't give up. Lap 23, he fired back. 131.3, fastest lap of his life. Closing back to 3/10. That was pure defiance. That was a middle finger to fate. He wasn't racing for points. He was racing for honor. He was telling the world, I'll go down swinging, even if I break everything to do it. That's why respect is due. But then Marc dropped a 131.2 at 32 years old, with 512 points already in the bag, with the weight of yesterday's crash on his back. That's not human. That's divinity in leathers. That's why he's not comparable. When others fade, he sharpens. When others fear, he risks. When others crash, he conquers. Final laps. Bezz half a second down, still clawing, still mad enough to believe. Alex 4 seconds back. Irrelevant, just another reminder that factory parts don't make legends. Acosta gone, Pecco gone, KTM broken, the grid scattered. And up front, 2 warriors locked in a death song. Last lap, 4/10. This tries everything. Every line, every angle, but there's nothing left. His only mistake was turn 8. Marc doesn't give second chances. He takes the flag. He takes Misano. He takes revenge. Yesterday's gravel turned into today's crown. The booze turned into stunned silence. The beast fed. And the records? Brutal. 512 points in the modern MotoGP era with 6 rounds left. 9th title waiting like a fruit on a low branch. 14 Ducati wins, tied with Dovizioso. 2 more, and he owns that crown too. History rewritten every weekend. The real punchline? After the flag, Marc looked at Bezz and smiled. You were crazy. That's not mockery. That's the highest respect the king can give. Because Bezzecchi did what Martin couldn't. What Pecco failed to. What Acosta's hype collapsed under. He stood toe-to-toe with Marc Marquez and refused to die quietly. He burned, he bled, he fought, and he earned the king's respect. But make no mistake, respect doesn't equal victory. The scoreboard is carved in stone. Marc Marquez, Misano masterclass. Payback delivered. Haters silenced. Rossi's land invaded and conquered. The beast walks out with another trophy, another scar to hang around his rivals' necks. And then Marc himself summed it all. Voice cold and honest. I gave everything. It was super difficult to hold Bezzecchi. He was super fast, and it was super difficult to hold Ducati. I know no one can go perfect 27 laps. He did a mistake, I took advantage, and he was all over me. Super pressure, but we are here. That's the sound of a man who came back from gravel to glory in less than 24 hours. That's the gospel of a rider who refuses to be broken. That's the declaration of the one name that history bows to. Marc Marquez, comeback champion.